Ready when you are.
Okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regular meeting of the Little Compton School Committee on May 18th. If everyone could please rise for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If we could just take a moment of silence, please. Thank you. And I would consider a vote to enter into executive session under RIGL section 42, 46, 5A1 and A2 via roll call.
Holly Allen,
Aye.
Abasadi,
Aye.
Anna Ea,
Aye.
Rita Kenahan.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, everyone's good. Welcome back. We apologize for going over our time. We are reconvening an open session. I would like to notify everyone that there were no votes taken in executive session. And I would consider a motion to seal the minutes of executive session. So moved. Second. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next up, we have the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
Great. I would just like to comment here, 4.1, just in case anyone noticed, needed to be approved before this meeting due to the Secretary of State's 35-day requirement. So I did approve it, but any changes or any non-approval today, we could go back and change it. We just needed to do that to meet the qualifications of the Secretary of State. So just in case anyone saw that go up there. Anyone have anything else they want to pull out or discuss?
I just got one question on the enrollment 4.4.
Yep.
Is there any new tuition students?
Not at this time.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next, 5, spotlight, end of year activities at Wilbur McMahon School.
Right now.
Thank you. As you know, it's the end of the year brings with it a mad rush for a lot of things that have always taken place here at Wilburn McMahon School. As you can see, there's about 17 or 18 different things that are going on, but I want to kind of bring your attention to not so much the NGSS, which is the Next Generation Science Assessment. It's going to be taking place next Monday, Tuesday. But then we start to get into some real neat things. Miss Oriole has 2 musicals, a grade 1 and grade 2 musical. That'll be taking place on consecutive Fridays. We have a little Compton Memorial Day Parade, as we know, and our band will be performing in the Memorial Day Parade. A new, and when I say new, I know it's happened here before, and it's kind of a new phenomenon, probably the last 10 years in our country, but the Portsmouth High School Senior Walk, graduating students from Portsmouth High School. And we're also inviting students who have gone to other schools, Bishop Stang or Conley or Portsmouth Abbey. If they're former Wilburn McMahon kids, they're more than welcome to come and walk. And that is on June 1st at 10:30. We've also invited parents of seniors to come either outside or in the wave wall, but they'll be here as well. Matilda is a musical, Miss Oriole's musical that is going to be taking place. The date was changed. It was originally June 3rd. That is also the night of Portsmouth High School's graduation. And we have a couple of students whose brothers and sisters are graduating, so we moved it back to the 2nd. Number 7 is the International Baccalaureate accreditation visit. That is Miss Nicole Jones is going to be visiting us on June 6th and 7th. She is a school administrator from North Carolina who is a part of the IB, the International Baccalaureate Educational Network. But she is going to be working with us going from the candidacy phase into the authorization phase. And she's going to come view our school, meet with some parents, meet with teachers, meet with students, do a quick run through, offer some advice. But she comes back again in October for the actual verification. We're positive going into this on June 6th and 7th. We feel very comfortable. I know Miss Lotz, who was going to be here tonight and unfortunately couldn't make it. We certainly feel very comfortable with the visit coming from Miss Jones. Miss Lotz and I both attended an IB forum 2 weeks ago and had an opportunity to see it for the first time ourselves, and we're certainly impressed. Jim Farrell on June 7th. Jim Farrell runs South Shore, as you know, and also the Newport County YMCA. He's doing a a water instruction program for our students in grades kindergarten through grade 6 on the 7th. Then we start to get into some of the awards nights, 8th grade awards and ice cream social June 9th. The PST and the Little Compton Education Foundation has a night at the Secana Point Club on June 9th, Thursday, June 9th at 6 p.m. The following Monday, our 8th grade has their dinner dance, something that's been missing for the last 2 years. Although they did do it last year, if I'm not mistaken. It was just done here in the gym with just the 8th grade. We are inviting the 7th grade to join our 8th grade at 7 o'clock that night. Field day, June 14th. Slight change. The 8th grade has always gone to an amusement park up in Salem, New Hampshire. As we're looking at it, and as you're probably well aware, the cost of transportation and getting transportation is skyrocketed, and it's very difficult to get transportation. So we're going to have a great day down at South Shore Beach. Mr. DeLeo, who's here tonight, they'll be running a barbecue, games for the students. We'll have lifeguards down there so they can go swimming. So that'll be taking place on the 14th. The following day, we have a group of 4, 5, and possibly grade 5, 6, and 7 going down to South Shore to do a beach cleanup. Not necessarily because we made a mess the day before, but certainly to kind of get the beach ready. And it's certainly good for, on their part for, doing some sort of community project with that. Graduation is going to take place on Thursday, June 16th. We're hoping to do it outside like you've done the last couple of years. I was not here last year. I heard great things. It's a great setting. The front of the school, the icon edifice of the Wilbur McMahon School, and as the backdrop. And then, of course, the last day of school is, I think it's awards day for field day, but also, our students who have had perfect attendance. I'm not sure if anybody has had perfect attendance. Been kind of a tough year, but not as bad as it's been in the past. So we might have a couple of students who fall into that. But I was going to say this. I know Mr. DeLeo showed up, but I want to thank Mary Elizabeth Miller, who's our school social worker, and Mr. DeLeo for putting all these things together for our 8th grade class. I think, back in the fall and early winter, that we were questioning whether or not we'd be able to run it. But I know they've worked well together. We were able to get the Secana Point Club for that day, which I think is a great night for the kids. And they've done a fantastic job with that. And I think they need certainly some kudos thrown their way. They're also in the process tomorrow of talking to our 7th grade parents about the strong possibility of going back to Washington, D.C. next year. So that is in process. Those wheels have been moving in that way. And I think a DC trip for our 7th grade students, if we could certainly get back to that, I think it'll be a very good thing. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Great, thank you so much. Anyone have any questions for Mr. McKinnon?
Right. Sorry. So if hypothetically that DC trip happens again.
Yep.
Is Mike gonna spearhead that and be the contact person for that and do that again? Or how does that gonna work?
That could be the possibility. I think I'm not sure if that's a yearly, it is. So, but that process, in order for us to go to DC, to be able to get to see the things that they want to see, that process has to start a year ahead of time, which is right now. Because I think we're looking at right around the same time period next year for DC. You cannot get into one thing in particular. Talking to Mr. DeLeo is, just to be able to get the same kind of, to be able to see the different sites there, the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Those are all things that have to be done ahead of time. well ahead of time, but you won't get those opportunities.
And I mean, I'm familiar with the trip. I think it's a great trip. I think that it gets our kids out of Little Compton and to go see other things. And I don't know if Mike's willing to spearhead that again or not. I mean, he's been there before. I mean, I guess that'll be decided later. I was just wondering. So I'm definitely in favor of that because as Mike knows, I've sponsored some trips in the past and then the other question would be, are you looking back into Philly as well?
We've talked about Philadelphia. I'll be honest with you, from a standpoint of financially, if you're just looking at transportation to and from, I think they were down there for, is it one night? I don't know whether it's as cost effective, to go down there for one day. I mean, it seems like they're on the bus for, far too long. So Philadelphia right now, I mean, it's certainly something we could talk about. I'm not sure who spearheads something like that. I know Mr. Ruder, I think, basically started that several years ago. But I think from a standpoint that, as you're well aware, the cost of transportation is really high. And I think, classes are probably better off, saving it to that one time as an eighth grader where they have the trip to DC.
Hopefully you find different. Again, I enjoyed that trip as well.
Listen, I think they're great trips. They just, from a financial point of view, obviously we can't ask for students to pay for it, but in a lot of ways, with the fundraising that's going to be involved with, certainly DC and with probably something like Philadelphia, I don't know if it's cost effective.
I think 5 years ago, I went on the Philadelphia trip. And I think it was about $700 for one night per person.
Mhm.
So I can only imagine what it is currently.
It really, the DC trip, the numbers that we're getting back from DC, and I can only go by what I paid a couple of years ago with twins. It's gone up. It hasn't gone up dramatically. I know Mr. DeLeo and the consultant with the travel company that they work with, they're trying to come up with some creative ways to cut costs. And I think one thing they're looking at is a possible train ride down there the night before and then fly back. That helps to defray some of the costs.
I did that mode on one of my trips with my kids too.
Oh.
And I'm gonna say the company that Mr. DeLeo uses, Jace, is amazing. The things he teaches the kids without them even knowing. To this day, when I'm in DC, I whip out some trivia thanks to Jace that I caught on. So that is a great trip. Anything else? All right. 6, superintendent report. Update on curriculum programs at Wilbur McMahon School.
All right, this is just gonna be quick, but just to give you an update on where we stand in terms of the state mandate to implement high quality curriculum programs in ELA, math, and science. ELA and math have a June 30th, 2023 deadline, and science has a 2024 deadline, and we have met all of those deadlines already. We have adopted EL education, the expeditionary learning, product, and our teachers are loving it. It is, it's a transition, and the anchor texts have been received beautifully. We've added into math for our middle school, so that brings us up to high quality curriculum K through 8. So we've met those deadlines a year in advance. And with science, we just had a few tweaks. We use FOSS, the full option science system, developed by the University of California at Berkeley. We are adding 2 new units in earth science from Lab Aid CPUP from UCal Berkeley, 1 in 6th and 1 in 8th. And that brings us right up to full compliance with Rhode Island General Law 16.22.30-33. This is state mandate tied to ESEA and ESSA, Every Student Succeeds Act. Federally, we are more than on course. We are there. And I'll have more when the summer rolls around and we have a website that we're developing. Thank you once again, Jonathan Gabriel, for all you do. In the future, I will be able to take you very quickly to all of that curriculum. We are redoing the entire website, and the website will actually be our focus at every school committee meeting. We will have it up, and there will be blocks. It'll be very graphical, not very textual, and it'll take us where we need to go. And so we'll always have sort of a living history of what's being talked about at school committee meetings, et cetera. We kicked off that process today. And we'll be all up and running by the fall with that new site, knock on wood. And all of these new curriculum upgrades, they are up there on the site under Curriculum Central in both the district dropdown and the school dropdown. But certainly they don't look the way that they will when we roll out Squarespace or something similar. But the nuts and bolts of what we do is educate kids. And how do we do that? Through curriculum that is challenging and vibrant and captivating and engaging. And we're doing it. With or without the mandate, we would be doing it, but the mandate definitely made us put pedal to the metal. And we've also met our full mandate for literacy intervention, credentialing of all of our K-5 staff. They all participated, and many submitted reimbursement for graduate credit. They went the extra mile and submitted for graduate credit. Thank you, school committee, for that policy that you wrote and passed a few years ago so that we could reimburse them. Next year, there's more curriculum-related PD. It'll be happening all year, and I will keep you up to date. But new earth science units next year, into math in our middle school, IB, EL education, extraordinary ELA program. We're on our way.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Does anyone have any questions for superintendent on any of that? 6.2, human resource. Carolyn, is that you?
Thank you, Chair. It's been a busy week, busy spring for staff wellness, thanks to our wellness partners, the LCF and the PST. We're also grateful for the Trust's many ongoing wellness challenges and opportunities. During Staff Appreciation Week, which was the first week in May, we partnered with the PST and the LCEF to bring back the very popular chair massages that were so enjoyed by staff during Wellness Week. 2 massage therapists provided enough opportunities over the past week so that every staff member who wanted to experience a chair massage could do so. In addition to this appreciation opportunity, the staff was also treated to a beautiful breakfast and a 5-star lunch, courtesy of, again, the LCEF and the PST. And they also gave away very beautiful gift bags to each staff member. Yours is in the office. The Trust's annual walking challenge began in April and just ended last week. 9 participants were on 2 teams. We shared weekly incentives and encouraging email threads and kept both teams moving. 1 individual logged over 1 million steps in 6 weeks. Meanwhile, wasn't yet. No. Meanwhile, the Trust's offerings of virtual classes continue in May with Pilates and meditation. This information is being provided to staff. Due to a retirement, the grade 7-8 math teacher position has been posted on School Spring. We're also seeking substitute teachers, teacher assistants, and custodians, and these postings are also active on School Spring. If anyone has questions about open positions, they can feel free to contact me or Principal McKinnon at the school.
Great, thank you. A lot of good stuff going on.
Million steps, huh?
1 million steps in 6 weeks. It wasn't me.
It's more than 20,000 steps a day.
I did walk with,
It's a staggering amount of steps.
I did trek with that person one day and I
Amount
went,
of time.
I know. I believe it.
She's a pretty busy person.
she's pretty extraordinary. I just,
Very nice.
I believe it.
and she made us goodies.
Feel
Yeah.
It slow us down.
I'm leaving too much on the table.
7.1 finance report, Mr. McAfee?
Okay, so before I go over the April numbers, as everybody knows, last night, the budget was passed. Not very much fanfare, so we're in good shape as we move into the FY '23 budget. Although the FY '24 is going to be a challenge when it comes to the budget. We also have received preliminary approval for roughly 4.9 million of our housing aid stage 2 building improvements that we submitted to RIDE. So we didn't get the final improvement because the meeting that was supposed to happen on the following day got canceled because of a gas leak at RIDE. And so we should be getting formal approval for that very shortly. And we probably anticipate starting a few of those projects this summer. We've got some money set aside for the auditorium, working with John now. We do have some monies that the town has committed to that project. So we're hoping that we can do a few things this summer to get that process going. As far as the April financials in the projection, we're looking at a small surplus, a small surplus of 12,477 at this point in time. So it does look like most of those surprises have calmed down a bit. So I'm not anticipating any significant changes. So we should be ending this year with the surplus.
Great, thank you. Anyone have any questions for Mr. McAfee? All right, thanks, Mr. McAfee. Committee reports. First up, policy subcommittee. We have not had any policies to review. 8.2 Portsmouth School Committee Liaison, Hannah?
Thank you. The Portsmouth School Committee met on Tuesday, May 10th. Just like us, they're just wrapping up, getting ready to wrap up the end of the school year. A few quick updates, just some congratulations to the Portsmouth High School National Honor Society inductees. That ceremony was a couple weeks ago. And also congratulations to the All-State Musicians of 2022. I believe that there were many band members at Portsmouth High School that were inducted to the state's All-State Band and Chorus. And then I heard from the PHS liaisons about how they've been continually testing, SATs, pre-SATs, AP testing was going on. Senior finals are coming up. I believe it was the student council ran a Best of Portsmouth pageant, which some of us might remember from years ago. It was a big thing. They did that again as a fundraiser, and they're just looking forward to junior and senior prom coming up, senior week, graduation on June 3rd. They mentioned that they submitted a high school tuition proposal to us, so I'm sure we'll be hearing about that later on in the agenda. And yes, that's about it. They'll meet again in a few weeks.
Terrific, thank you so much. 8.3 Town Recreation Committee Liaison.
Yes, that would be me. And it's, we have a meeting next Monday, May 23rd. So I'll be able to give a report next month on all the fascinating, fun things we're talking about. Shall I roll right into wellness?
Sure.
Okay, we had a great meeting on May 10th. We discussed the WellSat scores, which is a review of our wellness policies. And I think overall, we did quite well. I think there were a few areas we want to take a deeper dive into, but we'll do that when we have our next meeting, which happens to be September 27th. And again, I will encourage families, community members to get involved if you're interested in the wellness of our school. Something that came out, you may have heard on the news this week, and this report, the Rhode Island Kids Count Fact Book, was released on Monday. So it was after we had our meeting. And again, we'll discuss this in September. If you didn't hear about this report, it's just a comprehensive review of the state of Rhode Island. 5 key points. The child population is plummeting in Rhode Island. So we've been dealing with it forever, so nothing new for us. There are many, many children in poverty, the state's struggling. Many moms don't have diplomas, and education seems to be an indicator sometimes of health and wellness in a family. So another sad statistic. 4, there are many overweight children in this state. It's a problem, leading to lifelong complications. So I know we look at this in the school from time to time. And so it's just something that I think we'll be focusing on, making sure our kids are healthy and well and fit. And a little bit of lastly, good news. There are few children and teen deaths in this state. In fact, we're #1 in the country, lowest number of rate of deaths in kids and teens. So that's Wellness Committee. And again, September 27th, you're going to be hearing more and getting invitations.
Thank you, Rita.
Thank you.
8.5 Scholarship Subcommittee, which I believe is also
Oh,
you.
back to me.
I would like to say that we're gonna have to do a temporary new appointment due to some conflict, which is always an issue with this committee because we all have kids, siblings, close friend, whatever that apply. So I'd like to ask Travis if he would sit on this committee with Rita.
I would love to.
Okay, super.
Thank you.
Thank you, Travis. Yeah, so I've heard that there are many applications. They're just flying in for these scholarships. Is that right? Yes. So keep the applications coming in because there's money to be distributed.
Yes.
And we will have a meeting the end of this month once we get what's the deadline? I'm sorry. 31st.
May 31st.
May 31st. Get your applications in. And then we'll meet and we'll be ready for graduation to hand out some money.
The scholarships may not be ready for graduation.
But we might identify who's getting them, correct?
I don't think we do that at graduation. I mean, we can, but I don't believe the scholarships are identified then.
We handed them out at a special meeting last year.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, I'm just being so optimistic here.
I don't want anyone holding their breath at home.
Okay.
If it happens,
All
that'd
right
be
then.
great, but I don't know. if
I
it
think
will.
we used to do them at graduation, right? Or they used to receive them on graduation or?
There are awards at graduation. I don't think the scholarships are one of them. No, I think it's always been like a special
Yeah.
night.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
looking forward to the special night.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Discussion item. 9.1 high school request for proposal, RFP process update.
Right here.
Okay. Have a prop. Okay. On April 29th, as you know, I was on site so that we could receive hand-delivered proposals in response to our request for proposals for the high school tuition program. 3 districts responded, and 1 proposal was even delivered by the superintendent. The 2 others weren't. They were delivered by valued staff. And so the 3 proposals here, Middletown, Portsmouth, and Tiverton, they all met deadline and they all have really good information. So as you know, a consultant was hired to look at the information against a 33-page rubric that aligns with the NEASC reaccreditation standards for high schools. And so the rubric gave them basically a table of contents to follow, and they did a really good job. The next step is owned by the subcommittee, Mike, but Don Rebello, the consultant, I'll tell you a little bit about him. I spent the past 2 weeks reading these, and he has read each one several times. In Massachusetts, he had a career of 35 years as an educator there, teacher, guidance counselor, guidance department chair, 15 years as a high school principal at Somerset High School and Durfee High School. And he also served as president of the Massachusetts Association of Secondary School Principals. He was 2001 Massachusetts Principal of the Year and served 9 years as a member of the Somerset School Committee. Not at all. In Rhode Island, he served another 14 years in education, principal in Burrville at Burrville High School, and then 9 years at Mount Hope High School. He also served as president of the Rhode Island Association of School Principals. He served 4 years as executive director of the Rhode Island Association of School Principals. And most importantly, in this process, he served on 15 NEASC visitation teams as a member, a co-chair, and a chair. I had the pleasure of being a rookie NEASC evaluator under him, decades ago. And he has forgotten more than I will ever know, but it was one of the most enriching experiences of my 39-year career as an educator. And he is one of the most ethical and outstanding, admirable human beings I've ever met. So it was nice to reach out after many years and ask if he would serve as consultant. And he is. And so he will objectively measure the responses, the proposals against that rubric. Mr. McNamee and I have been providing him with any details not available in there. John answered all the questions about financials. And my homework for the weekend is to look at the U.S. News and World Report rankings and the methodology used for those rankings, and also, give him that information, some additional information. So he has been a taskmaster through this process, sort of inscrutable. I do not know where he's going, with his scoring. Rest assured, the subcommittee will have a really good readout by him. So the next step is for the subcommittee to meet and in public with Mr. Rebello and go over his summary of these 3 proposals. And then we'll sort of take it from there. He's okay to also report out to the full committee June 15th. He leaves the next day for a family trip. So he did put that day on his calendar if you want to speak to him then or in July, another meeting. So my part of this is pretty much done. And the rest, the school committee's subcommittee, high school tuition program, that's the next piece of it.
So his analysis is complete.
It's nearly complete, not quite there yet.
When would we expect it to be complete?
I would say in a week, another week. It's a lot of information. And he knows the standards inside and out.
So are we good to schedule a future meeting or so that he can come down and explain it to the committee, subcommittee?
The subcommittee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just so we can get the ball rolling on this.
Yeah, so I would reach out to date Mariah and ask her to find some common dates that work for everyone that would need to be included in that subcommittee.
Mariah, did you hear that?
Okay. Public input. 10. Is there any public input? I think there is public input.
I think there is a new community center director here with her lovely child Maximus.
Hi.
Mooney, you're up.
I'm Amy Mooney. I'm our new executive director over at the community center. And this is Max. I wanted to come in first, say thank you to Mike for leading the work over at the playground on behalf of our staff and the kids at the after school program. So we got you a little card, and a little note.
Oh, it's nice.
Thank you.
And sorry about the background noise of the toddler. I also wanted to extend an olive branch, Mike, for us to connect and see how we could get moving forward on our best foot. I understand there's some strains in our working relationship, but I know that we can find some common ground and move forward.
Okay, sure.
So I'm next door part-time. Feel free to come over and give me a call.
Yep, I'll get you my phone number and reach out afterwards.
And on behalf of the community center for the entire school committee, if there's anything we can be doing better or differently to help our families in town, don't hesitate to reach out. We're here for you guys.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Maximus.
My love. Okay, any more public input? Action items, 11.1, consider, discuss, and vote to match the 2022 Doris Simmons Scholarship amount of $150 and bring the total award to $300. I don't know, at least maybe 4 or 5 years we've been matching this, just because $150 hasn't been
Yes.
increased.
Of course.
I don't know if there's a way for us to just permanently increase it to 300. I don't know all the workings behind the that particular scholarship. It might be something we want to do in the future, so it doesn't get forgotten until it can't be matched. But I would consider a motion tonight to match the 150, bringing the total award to $300.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Is this something that we could look at in the scholarship subcommittee?
I'm not sure. I'm going to defer to Carolyn on this because each one of the scholarships is made up so differently. Some are funded by families, some are in like a trust kind of at the town hall. So is that one?
We would have to work with the town hall on that to dig into that. John and I would need to look at that with the treasurer, the finance director at the town hall. Yeah.
So, yeah, we could,
Okay.
you know what? Let's put that right down here and we'll request that.
Okay.
We'll have to vote on it. So don't write it in pen over there yet. Any more discussion on that item? Do I have a motion?
You do.
You do, I do it. First, second, sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Great, motion carries. Consider, discuss, and vote to approve the agreement between the Little Compton Teachers Association and the Little Compton School Committee. So that's what we met in executive to discuss this. And do I have a motion to approve the agreement?
Motion to approve the agreement.
Second.
Any discussion?
I would just like to say thank you to all of our teachers for such incredible hard work, and we look forward to another contract full of their excellent education.
Yes.
Right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimously. 11.3, consider, discuss, and vote to approve the superintendent's salary for 2022, 2023. During our executive session, we also discussed the superintendent's salary, and we discussed a 2% increase for the 22-23 school year. Could I have a motion?
A motion.
Second,
Is that a good enough motion?
yes, because you, yes.
Okay. All in-
After 8.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No,
Motion carries 4-1. 11.4, consider discuss to vote to approve any requests for information from administration and or legal counsel. I'd like to make a motion that we ask Carolyn Sedgwick and John McNamee to put a little research in that Doris Simmons Scholarship to see how we might bring that up to annual $300.
I second the motion.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Consider a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.